faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound, this amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman. Possessing remarkable physical strength, Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent.
Hello people, welcome to the Creator of Bricks, and today I have a review of the Max Fleischer 1940s animation cartoon Superman. This is a Superman figure I've been waiting very patiently on. Just like with the Christopher Reeve Superman, this is one of my favorite Superman looks and just one of my favorite versions of Superman in general. I was so ecstatic when I saw this got revealed about in December 2024. I thought this was an awesome looking figure, and I could not wait to get my hands on it. I pre-ordered it on Best Buy and it arrived yesterday, and I cannot wait to look over it with you guys. My exposure to Max Fleischer Superman was through VHSs, actually. That's where I first experienced the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons as a child. It was one of my first Supermen that I grew up with. The first three Supermen I ever grew up with was this Superman, the DC Animated Universe Superman, and Superman Returns. Those were my first three Supermen that I ever experienced as a child. So this is a very important Superman to me. It's one of the first ones I ever grew up with, and I remember watching the episode where he fights like the gorilla in the circus. I'll have to find some footage of that short. One of my favorite Supermen, and it's just an awesome looking design. It's a bit weird with the belt not being yellow. It's a red belt, but that is how it is in the show, and it's just an interesting little thing with that version of Superman having the red belt instead of the yellow belt on there with the red loops. Just red everything except the actual belt buckle right there, which is an interesting way of designing the Superman. And of course the iconic yellow and black logo that has sort of translated into the Superman Legacy costume with the yellow rim that has been translated into the new live-action Superman costume. So that's a part that this Superman has influenced, even in the modern day. Little suit elements that have translated over. I had VHSs as a kid of the actual cartoon as well, so I'm pretty familiar with this version of Superman. And it is, to this day, one of my favorite versions of Superman. It's not a complex version of Superman, it's just a fun short from the 40s, you know? It's just something fun to watch. So what he comes with is, well, of course you get the card, which replicates the first issue of Superman. This is not how he looked back then. Had more of this look. This is the original suit for Superman before this one. The first appearance that had kind of the police badge logo, and then you get this one, and then you can transition over to this costume for Superman in terms of the history. You get two open hands. I do not know where my other one is, but here's one of this is the left hand. Two sets of open hands, and then of course you get the fists. So not too many accessories, but there's not really much else I would have included. Maybe they could have thrown in metal chain accessory from the first appearance Superman. I think that would have been a fun accessory they could have thrown in, but that would have taken up some retail space in the box. It's not a big deal that they didn't include that. It's a standard release. In terms of the articulation, what you get here is you get this much up, so a pretty good up, and then down you get a little bit. It could be better. This much forward, so pretty much nothing as usual. Backwards you get a little bit less than normal, but that's still good. Still get the flight poses. You still be able to get that. You get splits. Thigh cut was in this much and out that far, so you can move that a lot. That is very good for McFarlane, that amount of range in the thigh. This much from the double jointed knee. Then for the ankle, you get this much up, and then down you get that much, so very good on that. You get a lot of movement in the socket there, so you can kind of move it forward and move it back, up and down, so it creates a lot of range, and you can make the figure look very built that way. It makes the shoulders look really good, those sockets being able to go up that far. It gives him a very masculine, I guess, chest. For the bicep cut, you get that much, 360 around, and then for the double jointed elbow, you get that much, go up that much, down that much, swivel all the way to the side at the base wrist here, and then at the upper part too. So very good articulation. You can get him into the 3-point pose. Here he is doing the 3-point pose on top of this model car I have. So yeah, you can get him into the 3-point pose, and it just looks pretty cool having the Superman. And then of course you do get the wired cape that McFarlane has been throwing in with all the caped characters recently, and it's just very fun. It's maybe not the best one. It's a very good quality one. I'm not gonna lie. But in terms of the last McFarlane Superman I have, it's a slight downgrade. The Task Force Superman, just slightly. So here's my Task Force Superman for reference. So this one had a wire at the bottom of the cape, so this one was slightly better, but this is by no means a really bad issue. It's just a thing that creates a bit more freedom with the wired cape, but this is still a very free cape. It moves around very nicely, and you can get it to do pretty much anything you want, unless you're trying to get the bottom to do something specific, which it can't really do that for the bottom, but it still moves well, and it still has a nice look to it, and it's just good looking cape. No yellow S, but that's accurate to this version, so I am not mad about that. I would usually be mad about that, having no S on the cape, but for this version he didn't have it, so there's no point in being mad about it because it's not an issue. And a figure I wanted to bring out to compare with this Superman is the animated Superman. Like I mentioned, these two were pretty much my first Superman outside of Superman Returns. That was my first appearance with Superman, or first thing I watched with Superman growing up. These two are very different execution in how McFarlane does things. So this is year one McFarlane, and it is very clear that it's year one. Everything is just single jointed elbows, and the ab crunch is even less existent. You can't get this thing back or forth at all, and these were utter failures of figures, the early DC Multiverse animated figures, versus this that is a masterpiece in terms of action figures. It has a great body build, and this one's just funky. I wanted to throw in the DC Classic Superman because it reminded a lot of Superman Returns, so I wanted to throw that into this shot too. My 3 original exposures to Superman, in a way. The Christopher Reeve Superman would probably be closer in terms of being Superman Returns, but this is what I'm going to do because this costume's a little bit closer to that costume, so that's what I'm going to do here. Alright, and then here he is with that Task Force Superman I was just talking about that is on the same body. 2 very different Superman. You can see the differences in suit design. This is more that 80s and 90s costume design for Superman, and the yellow S on the cape now. I did modify this one heavily. Like I said, I did a video on this one, making this one. But this is a very classic Superman design. And then this is a very early Superman design that's kind of darker in colors versus this very poppy Superman. So yeah, that's those two. He is with the regeneration suit Superman. Then here he is with Superman Blue. 2 very polar opposite takes on Superman. And here he is with both of my Power Armor Lex Luthors. I did one in Superpowers colors, and then I have this one that's more of modern colors right here. And then here is my custom Metallo that I used from the Warhammer figures from McFarlane. This is kind of a character that feels kind of at home with Max Fleischer Superman with robots and stuff, so I think this is a fun comparison. And then here he is next to Bizarro. He's very much smaller than the Max Fleischer Superman. This is also a custom. Here he is next to the main man Lobo. Here he is next to General Thaddeus Zod. Here he is next to Cyborg Superman. Kind of feels at home next to Fleischer Superman, kind of maybe a character that could have fought Superman at the time if they went longer. And then here's a character I wanted to bring out. So he never appeared on the show, but a gorilla did appear on the Max Fleischer Superman shorts. So I wanted to bring out Gorilla Grodd because this version of Superman did fight a gorilla, like I mentioned earlier in the circus episodes. But yeah, that's all I wanted to compare him with. So yeah, this is one of those Supermen that I was waiting a while on, and I was hoping he would make this figure. I kind of did doubt him making this figure because it's an animated thing, and he hasn't been doing animated stuff for the DC Multiverse since 2020. So I didn't expect it, but I'm very happy that it did end up coming. Very happy with this. The only Superman I can think of that I want now from McFarlane are definitely Kingdom Come Superman, which got revealed, and then New 52 Superman's a big one in terms of the history of Superman, because he did Rebirth, and then he's done a ton of classic Superman, but we've never gotten a straight-up classic Superman. The closest I can think of is the Page Puncher's Wave Superman that had the logo from the New 52, and then the Superman Unchained. This is the Superman Unchained suit, for those who don't know. That's one of the main versions of Superman that we need now, is the New 52. That's the last big one, because we've gotten Rebirth and then a ton of other important suits for the history of Superman. Maybe a regeneration suit with the mullet instead of the modern Rebirth regeneration suit would be nice. I guess would be something we would need. And then maybe a Superman Returns figure to complete like the movie Superman, because we have Christopher Reeve, we have Henry Cavill, we're going to get David Cornsweet, so that would be cool to get a Brandon Routh Superman Returns figure. Also, that would complete my top 3 original Superman that I was exposed to too. So that would be nice. But this figure, I would give it a 9. Yeah, 9 out of 10. I think this is a stupendously well done Superman. I would even push for a 10. It's not a 10 because of the ab crunch. If it had that ab crunch, if it had a better ab crunch anyway, this would be a 10 out of 10, because everything about this is great. It looks like the character, and it does everything it needs to do for this character. The only flaw is it doesn't have better ab crunch. I couldn't think of anything better I would have done with the figure besides that. This is a awesome release. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you around.
This looks like a job for Superman.